What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 habits for highly effective paralegals. If you're finding yourself underwater with those day-to-day operations and you're worried and you're thinking there's got to be a solution here, there's got to be a better way, I'll tell you what, it all boils down to having good habits. Highly effective paralegals have good habits, and that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today in this video. So if you're ready, let's dive into things today. Habits. They don't necessarily need to be a bad thing. In fact, they can be really great things because highly effective paralegals have great habits. And in fact, it's one of the reasons why they're highly effective paralegals, because of all the good habits that they formed to, move the needle forward in day-to-day operations and make it so less chaotic. But in the event that it is, they have a habit and they have a system and they're ready to tackle it. All right, so let's get down to that first habit. The first habit, make it a habit to document everything. And I do mean this, document everything. Now, you're not going to get off that easy. You're going to say, okay, Misty, we'll document everything. No. You have to have a system for documenting those things. So what is that system for documenting everything? Now, in my store on my website, I have all those indexes, and in my resources, I have free indexes. And I've talked to you guys about keeping indexes. You can keep them in Word, Excel, a fillable PDF for all I care, and a Microsoft list, in OneNote. It doesn't matter, but you need to be documenting everything. All right, so case in point here. I can't tell you how many times I've had opposing counsel email me and say, hey, we can't go forward with this deposition because you didn't send us such and such that you mentioned in your interrogatory responses. Well, I love when I can come back and say, yeah, I did. Not only did I send it to you, I sent it to you on this date, and it's in this Bates range that you can find those documents. So I'm going to confirm the deposition for tomorrow. But I couldn't prove it that I did it unless I documented it, unless I had some way of documenting it. Now, I don't mean save it into a folder, look in that folder and see if it was there and if you sent it to them. Okay, no. That's not an efficient way of finding that data. Make sure that you keep a document production index of everything that is sent out and coming in to your case so that you can easily go back and look at those things at a moment's notice, get that information and send it off to the powers that be that need it. So you need to absolutely document everything. And if you recall in another video that I did when we talk about the, medical malpractice and things like that, and we're looking at charts, if they didn't document it, it didn't happen. We got to treat our job sort of that same way. If I didn't document it, did it happen? And if it did, I'm probably going to have to track that information down. So if you don't want to have to do that, then you're going to document everything that happened. And by the way, documenting things can be a great way to support motions as well. So summarizing a conversation that you had with opposing counsel through that email is documenting in writing that conversation that you just had about that outstanding written discovery that they're going to get to you in the next 7 days. And if it's 9 days from now and they still haven't got it to you, then you've had that correspondence with opposing counsel that they were going to produce something. You put it in writing, you documented it. And so now you're going to attach that to a motion to compel as an exhibit and present your motion to the court. Document. All right, on to our next habit. Make it a habit to create to-do lists. Now, I do not mean flag an email and come back to it, and that's part of your to-do list. Nope. It doesn't work that way. I need you to actually create those to-do lists. Now, when we create to-do lists, we are really setting the intention for that day or for the next day. Those are our intentions. We intend to do the items on this list. Now, remember, I'm all about practicality. So don't make a list that you can't accomplish. Otherwise, you're just going to get yourself down. So if that list is just 3 items or 5 items, and it should be 10, what are those top items that you need to complete? Complete those top items first and toggle down from there in the time that you have. So create those to-do lists. Now, if you are one of those people who like to flag emails to go back and tackle that list of things to do that are associated with that flagged email, then fine. If you are actually tackling that task, I can't tell you how many times, like literally 9 times out of 10, where people have said, "Oh, I flagged that to get back to it, and I meant to do it, and that's why I flagged it." But here it is 5, 6, 7 days later, and it's not done. And that was the response to the email of why it didn't get done. So I want you to step back and really ask yourself, is flagging emails working as your to-do list? Now, one of the things you can consider doing is if you are flagging items in your email in Microsoft Outlook, you can use Microsoft's ToDo, which is tied into those flagged emails, and it will turn all of those flagged emails into tasks. However, if you are one of those people who have, I've seen people have hundreds and hundreds of flagged emails in their inbox. And those are all things that they need to be doing. Really ask yourself, is flagging emails actually the to-do list that you should be creating? So just like documenting everything, even though there's a habit to create the to-do lists, where are the to-do lists actually going to be sitting so that you are visually seeing that to-do list and you are actually tackling those tasks? Part of the problem with flagging emails is the emails keep coming, and so the flag disappears and there's no longer that visual cue to get something done, which is why I like Microsoft ToDo. It ties right in there into the Outlook environment in my day, and I can look literally at my intentions for the day. So this is a good habit, but there has to be a system in place to make sure that you are following through with the great habit of keeping to-do lists. All right, the next habit on my list is a big one, and you're probably not going to think this is much of a habit, but it truly is. Make it a habit to make time for yourself. Even if that's just going to the bathroom for like 5 minutes, just take that time for yourself. Everybody needs a little me time. And statistically, scientists have found that when you remove yourself from the chaos of everything and take a little time for yourself and have a little R&R, then you're actually more effective. You're more productive. So make sure that you take time for yourself. And no, I don't mean that you go to the lunchroom or you grab your bag and you get your lunch together and you go back to your desk and you work through your lunch hour. You're just taking a few minutes to gobble down what is at your desk and work through your lunch hour. No. No. That is not what I mean at all. I want you to step away from your desk and have your lunch in the park. Have your lunch in the lobby for all I care. Have your lunch walking downtown. But you need to step away from the desk. The desk is associated with work. When you are sitting at that desk, you are working. You are not eating your lunch. You are not eating your breakfast. You are certainly not eating your dinner. You are not having your me time at your office desk. Separate the two right now. I want you to get out of that high-rise, mid-rise office and get your butt on that street and start walking. Pop those headphones in and take some me time, even if it's just a quick walk around the block. If you're working in a suburban office, then I want you to get out there and find a park and start running in the afternoon or start taking a stroll through the park. I know I used to take about 45 minutes to an hour every afternoon and jog in a park near my area. And that just really helped sort of release things, the stress of the day, and just take that me time. And when I didn't want to run in the park, I took strolls through the park barefoot. It's called grounding, and it helps sort of reset that circadian rhythm that our bodies naturally have, and sometimes it just gets out of whack. So whatever that time is and however you can take it and whenever you can take it, please be a boundary boss and take that time for yourself. I guarantee you, you will not regret it. All right, the next item on my making it a great habit list, make it a habit to put yourself in their shoes. Sometimes this can be a little bit easier said than done, putting yourself in their shoes. But by this, I mean that when you are sending your client a document that they need to review and get back to you on, is that document filled full of a bunch of legalese language that they're really not going to understand? In the state of Illinois, you have what's called 213 F1, 2, and 3 witnesses that give depositions and testify at trial. And that is the verbiage that is used in interrogatories and requests for production. And if you're sending those things to your client, asking your client to respond to that particular interrogatory on identifying 213 F1, 2, and 3 witnesses, your client's going to be like, huh? What's that? They don't know what that is. So why send them a document that they're not going to understand? Put yourself in their shoes. How would you like to receive that document? Wouldn't you like someone to explain that to you? Think about litigation costs when you're hiring those outside vendors and consultants. Is the cost negotiable? Everything's negotiable. Keep that in mind. Everything's negotiable. Everything is negotiable. But I do that. I negotiate costs and things like that for my client because it's about the bottom line. I want more money in their pocket and less in the government's pocket. I want more money in their pocket and less in the attorney's pocket. And I know that that seems kind of weird because we're all working for this crazy legal industry, but empathy, guys. I need you to have empathy. And empathy means that you've got to put yourself in their shoes. Think about it. At the end of the day, I want someone to treat me the way that, I want to be treated. And I'm going to treat them the way that they want to be treated. Now, their shoes doesn't even have to be the client. It could be the attorney. Put yourself in the attorney's shoes that you're working for. Would they want the document in that way? Is that easy for them to read? Would they like their binder organized in that way? Is that the way that they process information? It doesn't just have to pertain to our clients and our plaintiffs. It can pertain to the people that we're working with as well. Put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in the office manager's shoes. Put yourself in the receptionist's shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. And it will make your relationships with your coworkers, with your plaintiffs, with your clients a whole lot better. Make it a habit to put yourself in their shoes. Up next on our highly effective habits is make it a habit to bring the energy. Always bring the energy, guys. Okay, I'm going to say something that's a bit cheesy, but just roll with it here and trust me. You are responsible for the energy you bring into a room. Okay, so bring good energy into a room always. Set good intentions for your day, but don't be the energy sucker. Okay, and what I mean by this is I used to work with a woman who every time she was presented with a task that she really didn't want to do, that was maybe tedious or monotonous, she would be so vocal about it in this open space that all these paralegals had to work. And she made the day really difficult. I mean, it was like, are we going to have a good day? Are we going to have a bad day? I mean, we're kind of walking on eggshells around this person because she sucked the energy out of the space. And so I want you to make it a habit to always bring good energy into that space. Even if it is a monotonous task, I'm going to do it. If I am in a meeting and, it's a difficult meeting or whatever, I'm going to bring good energy into that room. I'm going to walk in with a smile. I may crack a joke or two. I may tell a relatable story in that moment or something like that. But I always want to bring good energy into a space. And so, cheesy or not, you are responsible for the energy that you bring into the room. So please always make it a habit to bring good energy into the room. All right, we are halfway through the 10 habits of highly effective paralegals list. So if you're still with me, I want you to tell me by commenting below. Let me know some of the habits that you formed that move the needle forward on a day-to-day process in your operations. Are you teachable? Are you resourceful? Are you what? What habit did you form that have made your life so much more efficient today? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button and click the thumbs up so that other people like you get information like this every time I post a video. All right, let's get back to it. Next on my list is to make it a habit to celebrate the victories. Yes, even if it's just a small victory, if it's just your own victory, I want you to celebrate it. One of the habits that I have in my business is that every time my Google Analytics hits the double-digit mark on every single referral space, I take a picture of it. I want to refer back to that moment and celebrate the victory, but make space for that time. Celebrate the victory at your desk. You've got a document back with no corrections. It was your first go at it. Victory at your desk. Or you just won a huge argument, motion for summary judgment, or you won at trial. Celebrate that victory with your team. It's important. It forms these bonds that you have with these people that you've probably worked incredibly hard with. So celebrate the victories. Now, I'm not telling you to go and throw a rager or anything. Don't go through a rager party and just, completely lose yourself in those victories. And that brings me to my next habit. The next habit on my list is to keep it professional, guys. You must keep it professional even in those victory moments. We want to celebrate the victories, but we don't want to celebrate those victories too much and make it unprofessional. Don't make it weird, guys. Keep it professional. And just a piece of personal advice from veteran paralegal to other paralegals out there. Don't marry your attorneys that you work with either. Don't date your attorneys that you work with. Don't date the people that you work with. Don't date your coworkers. I don't friend my coworkers on Facebook or even LinkedIn. Now, that's not to say that I don't have fun with my coworkers or go out to have a drink with my coworkers or anything like that, when I'm around them, when I have time, because I work remotely. But keep it professional. That's all I'm saying. Make it a habit to keep it professional. Now, when it comes to keeping it professional, I don't just mean keeping it professional with people, with coworkers. I mean keeping it professional with clients. And I mean keeping it professional with your computer at your desk. That's not yours. That email doesn't belong to you. So if you're online shopping on that computer there at the office, somebody can probably track that. And, if there's some sort of spam going on in the background, it's captured your email and now it's sending you emails. And now you're getting all this spam in your work email. And you're getting emails from Victoria's Secret and Nordstrom and Lord knows what else. But keeping it professional doesn't just mean with the people. It also means with the equipment and with the computers that aren't yours. Keep it professional, guys, with the people, with the equipment. All right, the next habit on my list is kind of weird, and I haven't seen it on anybody else's list, but I'm going to throw it out there because I think it's really important. And that is to make it a habit to say things and to use the same naming conventions, okay? Your office should have a standardized way that you name and save your files, regardless of what file it is, even if you have to have, different naming conventions for this is the way you save e-transcript, and this is the way that you save correspondence, and this is the way that you save discovery, and this is the way that you save depositions. Okay, you need to have an understanding with your team what that naming convention is. I have a 3-page document that I share with my team, and that document is nothing but naming conventions and acronyms that we use on a day-to-day basis to find things very, very quickly and efficiently in our environment. Now, this is even more important when you're working in a searchable database. You want to have the same naming convention so that when you're searching across that database, you are effectively pulling things that you need. Let's take a motion to compel, for instance. There are several different ways that you can save a motion to compel in terms of naming it. But let's lead people down the right path on our team. Let's not send those people on a wild goose chase trying to find a document that they want. So when we talk about saving a motion to compel, you can name it motion to compel. More than likely, you're going to have like Ray something, Ray outstanding discovery, or Ray witness testimony, or something like that. Motion to compel on something. So you can either save it as just a motion to compel, or you can save it as an MTC, or MTN for, motion, abbreviation of motion to compel. I mean, there's lots of different ways to save something like a motion to compel. So I want you to narrow down on ways that you can save it and work with your team on coming up with a certain naming convention and how you name those motions to compel. So I really like to minimize things. So I'm going to say MTC Ray discovery, or MTC Ray so-and-so's deposition. I'm going to minimize it in some way, but my team knows exactly what that is. And when they go out and search for a motion to compel or a particular motion to compel about a certain issue, they know exactly which verbiage to type in the search engine so they get the document that they need. They are making a very, what do I say? Intentional. That's the word I'm looking for. They're making a very intentional search because, we've really standardized that process on the naming convention. So long story short here, make it a habit to use the same naming conventions across your team when it comes to naming them and saving them. Standardize that process. Make it a habit. All right, just 2 more habits to get through and we can wrap up this big long video of mine. The next habit is to make a habit to build your data bank of resources. Make it a habit to constantly be building your data bank of resources. Now, here's what I mean by this. We talked earlier in this video about the indexes. Those are your resources. That's part of your data bank of resources. If you have gone and downloaded, some civil rules of procedure or federal rules of procedure, those are resources for you. We are constantly building resources that we don't quite make it a habit of documenting, which was actually habit number 1. Document, document, document. That includes your resources. Now, let's take medical records, for instance. In injury cases, you're often gathering those medical records. So if you have not outsourced this, which I advise you to do that, but if you can't, and you're the one gathering all of those medical records, then it would probably be really helpful if you have a spreadsheet that you created in which you gathered all of the contact information for all of the hospitals and clinics and things like that you gather records from, that you have tracked the contact information for who you need to talk to at the medical records department, and who you need to talk to in patient billing, and who you need to talk to in radiology, and exactly where you need to send those HIPAA documents to in order to get a response from that facility or that clinic. That organization of that is sort of information of the people that you get in contact with should be on a database of some sort that you are keeping somewhere. Microsoft List, Excel, a Word document. I don't care if you write it down on a pad of paper, keep it in OneNote notebook. But If you don't want to constantly be reinventing the wheel and looking for contact information of the person you need to send a records request to at this facility that you've probably requested records from many times before, but you've never written down that contact information, make it a new habit to start building those sort of resources, to start building that data bank of resources. And so that's what I mean by building that data bank of resources. That's information that you can refer to at a moment's notice to get from A to B. Now, I want you to share the wealth here, okay? Because there's enough resources to go around. So share those resources, not only make it a habit to build them, to create them, but to share them as well. Please share the resources. There's enough to go around, I assure you. And we are at the final habit. Finally, make it a habit to do something every day that your future self will thank you for. I know that sounds a little bit cheesy, but I really want you to think about that. Do something every day your future self is going to thank you for. And most of these habits, your future self will thank you for forming them. Yay! We made it to the end of the habits. 10 habits that highly effective paralegals have. Now, if you're looking at these habits and you're like, I could work on some of these, then do it. Start working on them. Start from scratch. Start now. Start building these habits. Now, for paralegals coming into this industry, it's really important that you form these good habits now that will take you through your paralegal career. I want you to grow through your paralegal career. I want you to thrive through that paralegal career. And by forming all of these habits, you're forming really, really good habits that are going to take you through the career. So when I say make it a habit to document everything, the action happens. The habit is to document it. The result is you can find it more easily later on. When it comes to the to-do list, there is a task that is given. That is the action. Now, the habit is to put that task on your to-do list. The result from that habit is that you're going to get to that task and it's going to land somewhere on your task list and you're going to get that, set the priority to get it done. When it comes to taking time for yourself, now, to take time for yourself, the result is you're going to be more efficient. You're going to be more productive. You're going to be more clear-headed to be able to make executive decisions when you need to. So it's all about forming the habit that creates the outcome that you want. That's really what it is all about. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. Of course, good luck to you and all that you do, because this crazy legal industry needs an amazing habit-forming paralegal just like you. Have an amazing rest of your day, a wonderful week ahead of you, an awesome weekend, and I will see you guys back on the next one. Mwah! Bye, guys.